The British Empire invention of the postage stamp. You know the thing, the glorious, wonderful penny black. Everybody should have one. And the postal system in general transformed overnight Britain and the British people's standard of living unrecognisably. It meant the movement of ideas could be spread overnight instead of weeks or months. There was a boost in trade and, yes, wealth. This is the Industrial Revolution. Don't forget another British Empire invention, of course. And when it comes to revolutions, actually, as an aside, that revolution is a very good one. But the postage stamp and the system, yeah, so ideas, wealth creation, families, wherever they lived in the British Isles could now communicate with one another almost on a daily basis, which was remarkable. This was like space-age technology to these people, which meant that for very low cost, 1 penny, the penny black, which equated to about 50 pence today, it meant that it was actually cheaper to communicate by post back then than it is today. It was a fantastic system and a great invention. And what the British did, once they had transformed Britain itself, because, of course, this is the British Empire, the empire transferred, exported the system of the postage stamp to all of its colonies around the world. So from South America to Singapore, in the Far East to India, in South Asia, they changed these places for the better, for the locals and for the Brits there, overnight. So communication is everything when it comes to business, to success, to family ties, to love, anything and everything. So it just worked great. And wherever you go in the world today, you'll see evidence of this. You'll see the post boxes, the red ones. You'll see the lovely colonial infrastructure, the post offices. But when Britain decolonised in the 20th century, of course, it left all of its territories, but it left what it had built in those territories in perfect condition, including the crucial postal system. And they're there to be seen today. The evidence of that is all to be seen. So it's left in perfect order for the world for free. So here then, sit back, is the story of the penny black and the postal system as told at one of my book talks with the wonderful Women's Institute. Thank the British Empire. Give them a round of applause. Yes. Well, what about other inventions? What other inventions can we talk about? I'll tell you what. Shall I test you? Shall I test your skills? And how about I give a book to the winner? Who's bought a book today? I just hope one of you win a book. That would be, it would give me such a sick satisfaction that you go home with 2 books thinking, I've wasted all this money on this one book. So here's another, what's that? You put it on eBay.
Sign it.
Do you know that there is one book on eBay now, signed by me, and it's £100? I know. I mean, I put it on last night. Yeah. So all of you are in profit, whoever's bought a book. And what were we talking about? Oh, I'm sorry, you're looking at your watch now.
Nipped.
Oh, you've nipped yourself. Oh, that's much more interesting, isn't it? The jewellery that you're wearing. So here's a quiz question for you. Right. We know, I'm sure you know, that the very first stamp in the world is called the penny black. Right. The penny black transformed communication, a British invention. Now, prior to the penny black, you could post a letter, but do you know how you'd do it? You'd write the letter, you would send the letter by carrier, and the receiver would get a knock on the door, and you as a receiver would be asked, would you like to receive this letter? You look at the letter, you see where it's come from, who it's come from, and then you pay the bill. If you don't want to receive it, the letter is binned. So it was a completely inefficient system. So if you get a bill, if you get an invoice, you get an invoice. Do you want your invoice? No. Thank. You get a love letter from someone you don't want a love letter from. One of my very many wives might be writing to me. I don't want to know. It goes in the bin. But in a particular year, they invented the penny black. And the penny black cost 1 penny, of course, and 1 penny in this particular year equates to about 50 pence today. So it's cheaper to post a letter then, and it was much more efficient. Did you know that 50 years later, in the late 19th century, if you posted a letter in London at 7 a.m., it would be delivered at 8 a.m. in London? They had 12 deliveries per day. People were communicating with one another, asking out on dates. Do you want to meet for a drink? Do you want to come for dinner? Communication was going backwards and forwards. People were even playing chess using the Royal Mail. So they're in the office at work, pretending to do work. They're sending their chess move to their friend on the other side of London, and they're playing chess throughout the day. So the system was absolutely beautiful. 12 deliveries a day. How many deliveries a day do you get, madam? 2. You get 2? Where do you live? She lives in a very posh part of the world. We barely get 1. And there's no guarantee it comes on a morning. So, and another interesting thing, the penny black was introduced, but there was a design fault in it. And what the Royal Mail discovered was that because the penny black was obviously black, and the cancellation mark, the stamp, was red. No, it was red. And so they used to stamp it, but the red and the black would often mix together. And so people would receive a penny black stamp and notice that the red was not showing up. So what did they do? Peel it off and reuse it. And the Royal Mail were selling millions, and they were losing out on a fortune. So they reinvented the stamp 1 year later and introduced the penny red. And they reversed it, a red stamp with a black cancellation. And it stamped out the cheeky monkeys who were reusing the penny blacks. So, for a book, ladies, get ready. Listen, you've got to show a bit of enthusiasm here to try and win the book, right? If nobody shouts out an answer, I'm going to be so offended. In what year was the penny black invented? 1840. She's straight in. Give her a round of applause. Have you read my book already?
I just knew that.
You just knew. Oh, you just knew it. Oh, right. Have you bought a book?
No.
Oh, for goodness. Unbelievable. Well, congratulations. Give her another round of applause. Well done.